And joining me on set to break down the real meaning of all that's happened with SpeedNet and the SpeedNet acquisition today is our news director, Jules Vasquez. Welcome, Jules.
Yes, thanks for having me, Miriam.
Yes, and
I know it's
we're
a
on
very full night.
Yes, we're on time. But Jules, you've been looking at this proposed deal for months. So what do you believe got us here, and then what happens next?
Okay, so today's announcement was somewhat unexpected, but we want to, first I have to focus on what the Prime Minister just said. He said that what is happening is that they put the cart ahead of the horse. Who is they? Is they BTL? Was it not the Prime Minister who was calling BTL board members, encouraging them to support a vote on January 9th? Who is the they that put the cart ahead of the horse? Now he's saying the PUC has to get involved. But what this underscores is that there has been a political capture of the Public Utilities Commission of Belize. That they can be so instrumentalized that one spell they're sidelined, they're mute.
Yeah.
A big public merger and acquisition is happening, and PUC now have nothing to say. PUC said, we have to wait until after everything is in, until after the deal is signed to get involved. But now, they're being instrumentalized by the minister and by the Prime Minister to say, no, the PUC has to get involved now. So the PUC is like an errant boy. And this really concerns me that our autonomous, or what should be the autonomous regulator of the industry, is being pushed back and forth in the fray and out of the fray at whim by the political operators. The Prime Minister also said that we need to wait for approval. They were pushing for approval. It is the board of directors of BTL that wanted to take a vote on January 9th that went to the PUC with a notice on January 8th. And I believe the Prime Minister knew very well what they intended to do and was, I believe, exhorting board members to support a voter and acquisition on Friday. This is what I believe. They talk about there's been a lot of misinformation. There was no information. That's what the chamber keeps calling for. That's what the social partners, the chamber met with BTL and said that there is still not enough information. They issued that yesterday. There has been an absence of information. The shortage of information in this process, which has been thoroughly mismanaged by the chairman of BTL, the absence of information led to the resignation of a board member. Chandra Nisbet Cancino resigned because there was not enough information.
That is true.
So, and then the Prime Minister said in those remarks we just saw, I don't know all the details. Well, it's the Minister of Public Utilities who just said in the House that the Prime Minister, is the one who asked for the pause. So, what concerns me is that the Prime Minister is playing all sides of this. For months, when we questioned him about it, he doesn't know. You have to ask Jaime. Call 670, call his phone number. And then, when it came out, he was there endorsing it, saying BTL has to do this, its revenues are flatlining, it needs to do it. And now, he's taking a third position. Oh, he's a voice of moderation. We need to take a pause. I don't understand how he can try to occupy, or try to credibly occupy all three positions on this issue, from clueless observer to a transaction involving his family, to enthusiastic endorser, and now to the voice of moderation. The Prime Minister has asked that we put a pause. What's really happening here, Miriam, I believe, as you said at the opening, the Prime Minister, they needed breathing room. The pressure was intense. His support in the cabinet for this was splintering. We saw the remarks by Jules Espat and by Anthony Mahler. I believe the Prime Minister is under intense pressure from the Ashcroft Alliance to consummate this deal. And so this is a way to just release the pressure. But this pause does not mean that it's off the table.
Yeah.
It is literally, if I can give you the most basic analogy. If a child is throwing a tantrum at night because their parents want to take away their cell phone or their PlayStation or their TV,
Yeah.
whatever, what does the parent do? Okay, go and sleep with it tonight. And when they wake up in the morning, it won't be
gone.
there, it's
Yeah.
gone.
So that goes back to, I believe, when we covered this story yesterday, it was about putting a pause so that the public can be consulted. That was another spin on
Right.
it as well. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you obviously have
Well,
different opinions.
you know, I hear them
that's
talking about the PUC. I heard the minister talking about the PUC, that the PUC will now engage in this process of consultation,
Yeah.
etc., which is what has been called for the start, for the PUC to do its job to protect competition in this marketplace. But what I didn't hear any of them say was that the public is free to enter its input.
Yeah.
That is a critical part of
And
every
where would they enter
PUC.
it?
Well, you
Yeah.
write into the PUC.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a standard part of every PUC consultation, but they referred
When
to
and where.
consultations with
Yeah.
stakeholders. But we want to know that the public will be consulted and will be able to give its input. And none of them referred to it.
On a specific when and where.
But
Yeah.
what concerns me is that the PUC is reduced to a plaything. First, we don't want you in, we want to just do it in a snap, and nobody gets you involved. And then, suddenly, no, the PUC has to mediate this. To me, it is very transparent. I think that it is an attempt to wheel and come again. I think that it is an attempt to reload this on the less strenuous circumstances.
Okay.
No, we have to look at it. Is it going to be weeks? Is it going to be months? Listen, they have a problem. Social Security Board refuses to come around. And if the government-appointed directors push this thing without Social Security's 3 directors voting for it, it's going to look bad.
Okay.
But Social Security Board is still doing its due diligence, it's still gathering information, has still not taken a position. So they have a problem. Now, I believe the chairlady of Social Security Board is not long for the job. I think it was prearranged before any of this, that she would be resigning by mid-year. They might be waiting for her to resign. They view her, Chandra Nisbet Cancino, as being in the way. That is how they see it. So it might also, you know, the chairman of BTL hasn't won many plaudits, much praise for being an effective salesperson on this. I don't know if Mark Lizarraga will continue to be the chairman, but maybe they put someone else at the front of this deal. But I think they intend to reload it. And I think that is just a pause,
Okay.
right? To let everyone bring down their hackles, and then you take away the cell phone or the PlayStation in the morning. I really think it's a strategic withdrawal, because he who fight and run away lives to fight another day.
Yeah.
So now, you know, what strikes me also, what the Prime Minister says, is that, you know, he says, you know, things have to go on a pause now. But he's the one who was saying BTL, he's telling a private board of directors now. BTL's private board of directors, who he just this week said has to act in their fiduciary duty. Now he's saying, no. BTL's board has to be put on pause.
Yeah.
So what's all the talk of this fight? So he's
Yeah.
now directly intervening in the affairs of the board, which are well afoot, directly intervening in the affairs of the politically captured
Yeah.
PUC.
Yeah.
It really is laughable.
Yeah.
So,
as we start to kind of wrap up, Jules, I wanted to, you know, just kind of summarize everything you talked about. You mentioned the political capture. You talked about PUC being instrumentalized now, you feel, so that they can put it on a pause in order to kind of proceed in a way that they want to anyway. And then you were talking about, in the past, what happened, what got us here, the resignations, different things like that. And you're saying that, in your opinion, you feel that the Prime Minister is playing offside. So we're moving, as things move along, what is your take or your opinion as far as how long is this pause going to happen and what happens really next?
I think that the PUC will get involved, as it should have from the start. You don't say, right? They will get involved, and there will be some type of consultation process. But we have to understand that the PUC is appointed by the Prime Minister. The commissioners of the PUC, the ultimate decision makers, are appointed by the Prime Minister. So that, again, is a massive conflict of interest because the Prime Minister's family stands to benefit $18 million. And I'm not impugning on his professionalism, but the chairman of the PUC, Dean Molina, is a former employee of the Ashcroft Alliance. Those are the two parties that stand to benefit from this transaction. You cannot run away from the central fact that we're talking $80 million. So, and in closing, I just want to quickly say that it was a massive fail on the UDP's part to not go and do their job.
And when you say that, what do you mean by that?
They boycotted.
The expectation.
They boycotted today's event, today's House meeting. Had they gone, they could have danced on the PUP's head for this sheepish retreat. They could have danced. In my opinion, you get paid by the taxpayers. You go do your job. I understand there are times, the opposition walks out of Parliament. We've seen that many times, I understand. But in my opinion, you have to be there.
Yeah.
You have to show up to your House meeting for which you are being paid. And it turned out to be a consequential House meeting. And they could have made great gains from a political perspective to embarrass the PUP in the chamber. That they did not do so.
So you felt
they
that
made
was
a misstep,
missed opportunity.
Certainly a missed opportunity.
Any final words as we close, Jules?
Well,
I feel like there's so much you have to say.
No, I'm just saying that I don't think who we have to look at now are the social actors, the NTUCB, the Chamber of Commerce, the independent senators, the media, all of those people, and the teachers union and PSU as well, all of those people who raised the alarm and said, we aren't being consulted, we are not fine with this.
Yeah.
They have to remain engaged if they're serious, because they're going to wait for things to subside, maybe for a few alignments to change, and they're going to bring this back, because $18 million you don't just walk away from, right? That's how much. True. That's how much is going to the Briceño family, and it's another $62 million for the Ashcroft Alliance.
Yeah.
And if they don't sell it now to BTL, there are not many more people they're going to be able to sell it to.
And so we wait because of the pause. So we wait. Thank you so much, Jules. And as I said, while we wait and watch to see what comes next,